Hello YouTube fam, today we're playing Golgari Self-Mill in Brothers War Standard. This is a deck designed by Jaw, who has submitted many decks for the channel. Jaw submits their deck via the Google Forms sheet in the description below, so if you would like to see your deck featured on the channel, please fill out that Google form, which includes a link to what the deck list is, and I'll play it on the channel. This deck has basically just the one Brothers War card, Gnawing Vermin, which has a really sick art. I mean, he's gnawing on something there. It looks like a rat's tail or something. But when it enters the battlefield, target player mills 2 cards. We're a self-mill deck. That's going to be targeting us. And when it dies, target creature you don't control gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Also has some removal spells and soul transfer and cut down. Has some synergy with these creatures that we're fine with dying, with Fell Stinger, and Junji has really good dice triggers, as well as you can sacrifice it to the Fell Stinger, and then a lot of the mill is going to get paid off with Writhing Necromancer, which is a 7-mana 5/5, but it costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard. So yeah, that's a deck, and let's take it into the game, see what happens. Okay, we're going first, and this looks like a pretty good hand, so we're gonna keep. We're gonna lead on this Death Bonnet Sprout. We can start milling some cards. Milled a Fell Stinger. Get this Butler down. Mill some more cards. Keep attacking. This Death Bonnet Sprout needs 3 more creature cards in our graveyard to flip. And if it does, it becomes a 3/3. Alright, opponent playing some artifact deck. Yeah, I think we're just gonna play this old Rustine. Mill a creature. I think that means we don't want to attack with the Death Bonnet Sprout until it flips. Don't really want to trade it when it's a 3/3 next turn. Okay, their Phyrexian Dragon Engine is double strike, so we'd like to get something that exiles or destroys creatures. Got a treasure token from our Butler. Gonna play the Sprout and the Butler again and pass the turn. Yeah, I think we're gonna pass the turn. This Double Striker is really holding down the fort for them. A big board though. Another 1/1 for our opponent. Wow, they have all the 1/1s. If they have a Lord or something, it's gonna be tough. Okay, they're gonna kill our Rustine, presumably. Okay. What do we want to exile? Opponent doesn't have anything in their graveyard yet. Don't think we want to exile anything. Jinji's not bad, but not great either. I'm gonna sacrifice this insect, draw a couple cards. One to target us. And we can play a Junji next turn, which will be pretty good. Definitely going to block this Phyrexian Dragon Engine. Doesn't have trample or anything, but does have double strike, so pretty scared of that. Opponent, automaton. Oh, okay. Opponent hasn't done anything too revolutionary here. Okay, our opponent is making some interesting attacks. I mean, I guess these all have Unearth. but I'm just gonna make some profitable blocks here. We have to get through these frontliners with Unearth, but it is a-okay. What do we want to return? Yeah, we're gonna exile it and return something from our graveyard. Anything juicy. Could get this Fellstinger back. We want to get this Necromance though. Necromass. Gonna put its +1/+1 counter on the Dragon Engine, which makes sense. And then we can exile things from our opponent's graveyard. With the Unearths, but okay, that was pretty big game for us actually. I think we just want to play a big creature this turn. Yeah, we're just going to play this Dreadhound. And we're going to get attacking ourselves. And yeah, our opponent had an interesting draw there. And we'll take advantage of that, yeah. GG's. Okay, our opponent's going first. We have a 1-drop into 4-drop, 6-drop. But honestly, we're gonna start with this. Opponent hits us with a hello. Good game. It's from the Hello Good Game YouTube channel, but I thought it was gonna be the account, but it was not. Well, I don't know, the Hello Good Game. Ooh, that's not good for us. Considering we don't have anything to play until turn 4, but I guess we'll take that. We're definitely going to cut this down and save damage. We got to just live until turn 4 and then turn 6. Another Rada. I think we're just going to play this Fellstinger as a 3-mana 3/2 Death Touch. This is a blocker for this Firebrand. We'll see how good that is. An Iconoclast, okay. That's pretty good for opponent. They're going to have a removal spell for this Fellstinger, I imagine. Maybe not. They do, they'll get a 1/1 out of it. In anger, sure. Doesn't give it first. Oh, but it does make it not be able to block. Interesting. Okay, I kind of like that combo, actually. Takenuma, okay. Play a Squire. Pass the turn. Now we can block the Iconoclast at least. Electrostatic Infantry. They have a Lightning Strike deciding which one to kill. Killing the Squire. And I think we're going to block the Rada if they attack with it, unless they also attack with the Iconoclast. Like I said, we'll take the free block if they give it to us, but we're going to block with the Fellstinger on the Rada. A Fellstinger, huh? Problem is, we can't even play this Takenuma next turn. So this and draw's not coming together too much. I mean, we can tap this for black mana and then cast Dreadhound. I mean, that's tough. That's tough for sure. Okay, gonna cast this Dreadhound. Hopefully just block our way out of this. Hopefully hit 3 creatures here to draw some cards. 1 creature, okay. Or not to draw some card to make him lose some life. Doesn't make us gain some life even, but ugh. Yeah, this is not looking good. Definitely gonna block the infantry here. Lightning Strike my face, which is lethal. Lethal, there's something else. Shore up. They should have shored up another one of their creatures if I had a sweeper here, I could punish them, but I don't, so that is GG's. Okay, we're back, and we're in the deck building screen this time, because I want to make a few changes to this deck. I think there are a lot of choices for the graveyard archetype for this format, and I think I want to make a few tweaks. So the first thing is I really like the gnawing vermin. I think I'm going to go up to 4 of these bad boys, and cut down is a really good removal spell as well. I think we're going to go up to 3 of those, and I think we're going to totally cut soul transfer since there's no artifacts or really enchantment too much in this deck outside of stuff created by Old Rusty. And in its place for Remorse, we're gonna, or in its place for Soul Transfer, we're gonna put Overwhelming Remorse. We're gonna put 3 copies of those in the deck. It's a 5 mana exile target creature or planeswalker, but also costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard, which is, makes a lot of sense in our deck. And another card we're gonna have as removal here is gonna be Skyfisher Spider, which another Brothers War card, which when it enters battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature, and a lot of this deck has creatures that we're fine sacrificing. When you do, destroy target non-land permanent. That's the bulk of the cards. 3 mana 3/3 reach. Outside of that, 4 mana 3/3 reach. Outside of that, and when it dies, you can gain 1 life for each creature card in your graveyard. Pretty good card. I think that's a pretty good 2 of. I think instead of this Junji, and I think we're not needing too much of Bloodsworn Squire either. It does care about the number of creature cards in your graveyard, but I think there are more efficient cards to play in its spot. And also Dreadhound is hard to get up to 6 mana, so I think we're going to cut that card as well. And we're going to cut a Takenuma. Just as a general deck building philosophy, I don't love having 2 of the legendary lands. You can see in one of the games that we already played, we had to tap it for mana and then play another one to cast our 6-drop, which we just caught in the deck. But it is something to note. And then one card I've really been thinking about building a deck around is Old Stick Fingers, which it's a legendary creature, X black green. When you cast this spell, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X creature cards. Put all creature cards revealed this way into your graveyard, then put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. In random order, sorry. And then its power and toughness are each equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So it just puts a lot of cards in your graveyard, and it's a big creature. So I think we're going to put 2 of those in this deck here. And I'm also looking at a Reclusive Taxidermist, which is it's a mana dork that could help you cast Urborg for the blue, as well as it's a card that could get up to a 4/4, which is pretty powerful for 2 mana. So we're gonna put a quartet of those in our deck, and for that one we're gonna cut the Fell Stingers. And I also wanted to look into Teachings of the Kirin. I'm not 100% sold on this one yet, but let's check into it, see if maybe if I can spell teachings correctly. Teachings of the Kirin. Not exactly sure what I would cut to make this card work. It's definitely a possibility in this deck, though. I think if you don't know what it is, it's a rare. Mill 3 cards. It's a saga. This first chapter is mill 3 cards. Create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token, which is great in our deck because there are a lot of ways to sacrifice creatures. The second one is put a +1/+1 counter on target creature control. And the third one is to flip this creature. When you do, you get a 1/1 on the backside. When it attacks, you get to choose from exiling target creature card from a graveyard, creating a spirit, or exile target non-creature card from a graveyard, and put a +1/+1 card on target creature control. I think it's pretty good in this deck, so we're gonna find room for it. And to do so, I think we're gonna cut a Taxidermist, and a cut down, and a Necromancer, I believe. Yeah, let's try that. I also do want to maybe try to find some blue mana to stick into this deck. See if there's any way we could get some blue going in here. To also help just lightly splash this Urborg. So let's oh yeah, I'm also going to play a Boseiju. I think it's free to play 1 Boseiju, 1 Takenuma, so we'll go ahead and do that. We're not going to play the Otawara because we don't want anything blue without another color attached to it. But I think we could play a couple copies of Shipwrecked Marsh. And potentially a couple copies of the green-blue version, which is called Deep Dreamroot Cascade. So we'll try this out. And we'll see if this is any good. Doesn't give us a lot of untapped green. Actually, we'll get rid of this Dreamroot Cascade and go back up the forests. Okay, we're gonna try the deck like this. I know it's a few changes to Jaw's deck, but I think it might streamline the deck and make it easier to achieve our graveyard goals. So yeah, let's try it. Okay, our opponent's going first, and this hand is pretty good, except for the small fact that we don't have great land situation, but we'll try it. See if we get punished for having mono tap lands. One leads on Mount Hand. If we could draw a untapped land or something so that we could cast one of our 2 drops would be ideal. Nope, we're gonna just be on the delayed Death Bonnet Sprout plan here, but that's okay. Next turn, we can play a 2-drop. When it's on the Power Stone plan, interesting. And I think, yeah, we're just going to take this advantage to cast a Rustine on time. Like an insect, which is nice. This Overwhelming Remorse is getting cheaper. Glittering Bolt's a nice draw for opponent there. Nice play there. Drawing their card straight away. They don't need to play a land, so they could have waited to do that on our turn if they don't have another play, but looks like they didn't want to do that. I think we're going to play this Teachings first. We want to get the Saga part of this going. And then also because if we do hit 2 creatures off this, we can play this Taxidermist and make it so it's not a 2 health creature on its way in. And that is exactly the case, so we're going to attack. And now our Taxidermist has the potential to, or has the, has 4 toughness, so it's not going to be able to be killed by a Play with Fire or something like that. It seems to have something on this priority, though. Voltaic Surge. That would make sense. Okay, that makes sense. Probably a good sign in the grand scheme of things that they don't have a sweeper, though. Regular Big Buster is getting them lots of cards, though. Okay, +1/+1 counter on... We'll go with the Spirit. And we'll attack with the Spirit. No blocks. And we're going to get this Butler and Sprout down, and then we're going to keep up this Overwhelming Response. Build 3 creatures on that one. So our Stick Fingers is huge. And now we have a way to exile target creature or planeswalker at instant speed for 1 black mana. It's a lot better than Soul Transfer would have been here, I believe. Gonna be able to flip this Death Bonnet Sprout if they don't kill it. Definitely, they have a lot of removal spells there. Fable, sure. Nothing that we're too really into trying to kill with this Remorse. No attacks, that's fine. Get to flip our Teachings. And I think, again, we're just going to lay the Taxidermist and the Six Fingers as a 9/9. It's going to be pretty hard for them to get rid of a 9/9 here. Pay this for X is 0. Don't get any big attacks, but that's okay. There's a lot more cards in hands than we do, and they get some good filtering going on here. They discarded a Volted Surgeon. What was this other one? Tyrant of Carriages. Which Brothers War cards. 6 mana, 4/5 flying. And when it enters the battlefield, deals 4 damage to any target. And also gets +1/+1 until end of turn for 1 red mana. Seems like a good card. If I were them, I'd just want to be playing big things. Doesn't look like they want to do that, though. Creating some power stone tokens. They definitely don't want to attack. One Remorse can kill one of their creatures though, and they have it for the stick fingers. Okay. Makes their stick fingers bigger. They were able to kill our taxidermist there. They've had a lot of removal spells. Can't really attack with this Kirin touch Urashi yet. We can definitely attack with his stick fingers. Can make our opponent block likely. Yep, they're gonna get rid of their Power Stone token in doing so. Since Hornstone Seeker needs the Power Stone token to survive. Or yeah, I mean I guess you could think of it that way, but when it leaves the battlefield you have to sacrifice one. I can get the Sprout onto the battlefield so I can flip next turn and we start exiling things from their graveyard. Pass the turn. Obviously this Fable is going to flip and it could be a Overwhelming Remorse target. Opponent could attack here. We'd probably be fine with that. Just spends their mana to create a Power Stone token. Okay. I think we are going to block that with the Butler. And the Insect here. So we only lose one of them, and we can exile the Butler and get a creature out of it. Question is, what creature do we want? No, and that makes sense too, where they just traded the 1/1. Get a treasure, and they did just trade the 1/1. That's big for us. Okay, mill a card and flip the Death Bonded Sprout. Gives us a land. We don't want to attack with the Hulk yet because they can just block with a Bank Buster. Just chumping the stick fingers here though. Gonna run our opponent out of blockers eventually, likely. It's gonna be hard for them to kill him 11/11. Okay. Apparently it's not that hard to kill a 11/11. Cityscape Leveler. Sure. And they're going to be able to copy it once. Which is fine. I think we're going to make them do it right now. They have to decide between the Death Bonded Hulk and a Kirin. They didn't even cop. Is that a legendary creature? It is not. They could have copied that. Okay. We're gonna exile a creature card. I think we're gonna get rid of this Tyrant. Drew a Shipwreck Marsh. I think we're gonna attack with everybody this turn. Exile a non-creature card. It's gonna be maybe Obliterating Bolts and put a +1/+1 counter on this Kirin. So that way there's a trade with it. And if they want to kill a Butler, we're definitely fine with that as well. Another Mirror Breaker, okay. And the Bank Buster. Maybe we draw a removal spell or something good here. I'm gonna try to get another creature. Stone Seeker. Another Teachings. Okay. Mill some cards. Still have 32 cards in our deck, which is good. They're gonna probably block with something here. Question is, do we want to attack with this Kirin? Obviously, they could block it with the Reckoner Bank Buster, but that means they're not blocking the 5 damage. I think we do want to attack with both, actually. And we want to create a Spirit. Put a +1/+1 counter on it. I think we'd rather have the Spirit. And to do that, we'll exile a Recluse. And they can have a free block with the Bank Buster if they want. But it's going to cost them life, so they didn't do it that way. My big worry here is that this gives them access to a sweeper. Blast Zone. It's kind of a sweeper. Yes, okay. That makes sense why they had it like that. They had a sweeper in their hand. Undead Butler. Definitely going to exile it. What can we get with Undead Butler? What's our best get here? Stick Fingers, probably? Yeah, going to get the Stick Fingers. And they're going to draw. It's going to be hard for them to kill the sticky boy here. 11-11. Cast this for 4. Make this a 15-15. They're definitely still going to have blockers, but now they have to block it for every turn from here on out. Unless they have another Cityscape Leveler, which is definitely possible. They have the mana to cast it if they do draw. I think that's probably what they're digging for. Look at this. Teaching's exiled. Let's attack with the Stick Fingers. If I was them at this point, I'd probably block with a Bank Buster. I'd probably block with a Bank Buster over this Pilot. So that way I could use Pilot again, but they didn't want to do that. We've rebuilt this deck, and one thing we are missing on here, I would say 2 things. First thing is velocity. We're just kind of drawing off the top of our deck here. And the other thing is we have so many things in our graveyard. It would be probably nice to have something that does something once it's in the graveyard. So maybe this Reclusive Taxidermist should be a Tenacious Underdog. Not sure. The Lurgoyf is good, though. That's a pretty good one here. Yeah, we'll attack with both. Let's see, where they don't have any more creatures. They do have the Horned Frogs. Yeah, well. I think we'll have the +1/+1 counter here. So let's get rid of this. Burn down the house. In case they have any way to recur it. Do 1/1, sure. Now it's gonna let them crew the Bank Buster. That's okay. Really, we're just trying to avoid a Cityscape Leveler at this point. Now at least this means they definitely have to jump block with a 1/1. And I don't think we want to kick. 15-16 is big enough for lethal. I don't think that means we want to kick. Now they have to block 2 big creatures every turn, which is nice. Just drawing more big creatures would be good for us. Really trying to avoid a Cityscape Leveler here. We've seen that is probably the only thing that can remove our big creatures. So if we avoid those, we're probably doing well. Gnawing Vermin. Sure. Alright, let's get attacking. Our opponent is not making tokens to block with. They're just blocking straight up. Which is an interesting strategy. They will mill 2 cards. Millistic Fingers, but we can't cast another one anyway because it's legendary. Another Lurgoyf would be good. Our opponent has this Foundry to block, but they need to produce another blocker too. Adversary, which they can get some cards back, but good thing we got rid of the Burn Down House. They could have made some 1/1s. Not really sure what they can get this time around. Explosion, sure. But they probably shouldn't attack. They're just going to end up chum blocking here. We're still at 20 life, if you can believe that. Another Lurgoyf is a really good draw. They're gonna crew the Foundry. Our opponents made some interesting. They've recognized their Foundry's way out, but I don't know if they played a lot with Fable because they had a lot of lines with the Fable, I believe. Unless, yeah, this is not a legendary creature. Yeah, I don't know. I'll play this Lurgoyf though. I don't think there's something in our opponent's deck that sweeps 18 or 17 power creatures. They have a Cityscape Leveler, but we want to play another Lurgoyf in case they top deck one of those that we can attack through a Leveler still. Yep, alrighty. That was pretty good showing for the good old Stick Fingers and Lurgoyfs. Alrighty. GG's. And we're back with Golgari Self-Mill, and I thought this deck was a lot of fun. I feel like I say that about every deck on the channel. I just love playing Magic. I just love playing these games. They're all fun. Thank you again to Jaw for submitting the original version of this deck. I did edit it slightly, so I will put both versions of those decks. I'll put Jaw's original version you saw in a couple matches to start, and I'll put the version I played with here on the last match. I'll put them both in the description below, and I'll label them as such. You can play either of those versions if you would like. And I did really like this deck. I think Lurgoyf and Stick Fingers they're together, as you saw in the last match. They're beautiful. They're just so huge. It's just so hard for your opponent to block a creature that big. If they're red based deck, it's gonna be nigh impossible for them to kill it. There are some colorless options, as you saw with the Cityscape Leveler, but in general, you're probably happy to play those mono red-ish decks as long as they're not going way under you with an exceptional draw. One thing I would say with this deck, though, is in the middle of that last match, we really felt like we were down on velocity. So I would say that part of that would be due to losing Felstinger. And then we're also down on just things to do in general, which I feel like that could be changed by playing maybe Tenacious Underdog in the Reclusive Taxidermist spot. It could also be changed by changing this deck up a bunch and playing more of a Domain style deck, and playing the Domain Spider that you can bring back from the graveyard, whose name eludes me. Let's try to look it up real quick so I can get you a quick name. Llanowar Green Widow is the creature I was mentioning there. So if you have Domain, you could return it from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And it costs one less to activate for each basic land type among lands you control. In this deck, it's not that great because really it'd still be 6 mana for us to reasonably get it back. But if you're playing a Domain deck, then it returns it for 3 mana, and that is a big difference. That would be a really powerful effect in the deck. If you are going Domain, you have some other options, as you can see on this screen. You could go more controlling with drag to the bottom. That kind of doesn't really make sense in your creature based deck. You have a Vortex Bone Rattle, which when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you can choose a creature in your graveyard and return it to the battlefield, as long as its mana value is less than or equal to the number of basic land types among lands you control. Otherwise, you can put it in your hand. That could be really good to get a Lurgoyf onto the battlefield along with a 4/4 in this deck. So you have some interesting options if you want to go the Domain route as well. But overall, I think this was a good shell. You could definitely do some tweaking. Somebody could really make this deck pretty powerful if they solve just a couple of the problems that I've outlined, being velocity and things to do with your graveyard. Once you have just a bunch of things in your graveyard, we have a lot of good enablers in the format right now. I just don't think we have a lot of good things once they're in their graveyard. Tenacious Underdog might be the best one. I think it'd be worth a shot to play in this deck. But I think you'd be looking for more. But yeah, that's the deck. Shout out if you like the sort of the mid-roll deck tech where I changed the deck up. Put that in the comments if you enjoyed that or didn't enjoy that. Feedback both ways are helpful. But in general, thank you guys for watching. And until next time, wherever you are, whenever you are, have a magical day.